After moving to the Midwest, you will despise it with a passion. On average, each winter, the region gets between 100 to 120 centimeters of snowfall.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is my new puppy, our new puppy. We don't have a name for him yet. He's a Bernedoodle. He's the cutest thing in the world. That is correct. But anyways, that's not what the video is about. The video is things I hate about living in the US. By the channel, living ironically in Europe. This is the guy that lives in Eastern Europe somewhere. And I've done at least one reaction that I know of by his channel. So anyways, we're going to check this one out. Links down below for the original video. And let's see what this guy hates about living in the United States.
America.
Oh yeah, that guy. Why are we buff?
Land of the free, home of the brave, and the place where I spent 9 years of my life. It is a vast country with diverse landscapes, gigantic cities with millions of people from all walks of life, which truly makes the country a place like no other, because of which there's so many things to love about it. However, this video is not about that, but all the things that really soured my pickle while living in the country.
Things that really soured my pickle. That's awesome.
If you want me to do a part 2 about all the things I loved about living in the US, let me know in the comment section down below. So, without further ado, let's begin. Now, one of the first things that really went up my nerves while living in the land of cardiovascular complications is the weather. Before you say anything, yes, America is a huge country with a bunch of different climates and biomes where the weather can vary quite drastically from state to state.
My state, Indiana.
Bunch of different climates and biomes.
It's just an empty Minecraft place. That's where I live, guys. I live in Minecraft.
Where the weather can vary quite drastically from state to state. However, that's not gonna stop me from bitching. I, like any other Eastern European immigrant who is too poor to afford living in New York or LA, ended up in the Midwest, more precisely, the Great Lakes region. And the absolute
Great Lakes region, I'm like 45-minute drive from Lake Michigan, northern Indiana.
worst part about living there was the goddamn weather. If you're a person whose favorite season is winter and watching it outside of your window while snuggle up in your little blankie with a hot beverage by your side, after moving to the Midwest you will despise it with a passion. On average, each winter the region gets between 100 to 120 centimeters of snowfall. If it gets hit with a polar vortex, like it is often known to happen, you can expect even more, going anywhere between 254 to 317 centimeters.
Yeah, that's completely normal here where I live. We get, they call it lake effect snow because the air comes down, cold air from Canada, and then it zips across Lake Michigan and then just gets dumped on southern Michigan and northern Indiana. Very lovely, very lovely.
And let me tell you, there's nothing like seeing a bunch of this white bullshit falling from the heavens that will ruin my day.
I wonder where this guy lives at in the Great Lakes region, because that's close to me. I live in that same region, but of course it could still be a few hour drive. If you're watching this channel, man, hit me up in my Discord.
Instead of feeling comfy at home, you're forced to get your ass out and spend the next several hours shoveling the bullshit off the sidewalk so you don't get Saul Goodman called up on your ass if some bozo who doesn't know how to walk slips on your property and breaks his skull and somehow makes it your fault. And you know this wouldn't be that bad if you had to do it so often. But as it snows so much, more often than not, you have to get out and clear the driveway and sidewalk several times in a day and spend even more time clearing this sack of white shit. Also, because this region is incredibly car dependent, you with no surprise have to use your car daily to basically go anywhere. And because Eve had to eat that goddamn apple in the Garden of Eden, God just had to curse the region with this crap.
Why'd you eat the apple? This is great. I love this guy's channel.
So, when you're driving on the freeway, or hell, even the streets, when it starts snowing, it becomes incredibly dangerous as your car can go into an autistic meltdown and crash into the closest traffic light or highway ramp. So,
Yeah, it can get pretty sketchy, that's for sure. I've slid around quite a few times.
on a somewhat daily basis, in your commute, you can see turned over cars in the winter that lost control due to the ice and snow on the roads.
Yeah.
And of course, the city service do clean the snow and defrost the ice.
Yeah, they clean the snow by scooping it off the road with a plow and completely burying everybody's mailboxes and the front of their driveways. So you just have like a pile of snow at the end of your driveway that you're left to shovel because they just shoveled it all off the side of the road and dumped it at the end of your driveway.
But again, it snows so frequently that sometimes there's just that risk of that happening, because of which I perfectly sympathize and empathize with this man who used a flamethrower to clear this white crap off his driveway.
That's awesome. I mean, it's all going to turn into ice. But that's pretty, I mean, I guess afterwards you can just put salt down, but that's great. I've never seen that in real life. That's awesome.
I salute you, Kentucky man. And of course, a lot of parts of America don't even have snow.
Right.
However, they have the sun and scorching temperatures that even melts the street signs.
Wow.
They have the sun and scorching temperatures that even
I've never seen that. That is great. I'm glad I'm not in that part of the world.
melts the street signs. Unless you live in a certain couple of spots with perfect climate in the country, you most likely will have some grievances with nature. Now, I'm sure this one's gonna ruffle up some non-existent feathers, but at the end of the day, it's my video and I can talk about whatever I want. And no, Dad, it's not just a phase. YouTube is a real job. I don't want to go into finance. You can't make me. Anyways,
that's great.
Ever since like the 1920s or so, America has been in a culture war, which encompasses a wide variety of political issues that has progressively evolved and become ever so prominent in day-to-day life in the country. Particularly since 2012 and the adoption of the internet and social media into everyday life, it too has become quite prevalent and practically unavoidable in your everyday life, especially if you live in a big city. Essentially, everyone and everything is constantly trying to shove their political beliefs down your throat, be it via Black Lives Matter banners and pride flags hanging on storefronts, lawn signs saying Trump 2024, or a bumper of a car being showered in political stickers to own the conservatives or libs or whoever the hell. As a militant centrist, it is quite annoying to be constantly exposed to political beliefs of strangers who just have to tell the world despite no one asking. And if this was just the case with stupid stickers and signs, that would be fine. However, both at school and work in America, you also get this.
To Kill a Mockingbird was a great book. I read it in school. Is it really getting banned? What?
That would be fine. However, both at school
very interesting.
and work in America, you also get this culture war bullshit shoved down your throat. For example, when I was in my junior year in high school, I had this English teacher who, on the first day of the school year, asked us to write an essay about ourselves. I wrote one about what my passions are, my hobbies, and stuff like that. When I got back my essay, I got a grade lower from an A because I didn't write about my experience of being Serbian, which the teacher wrote on my paper. Now, I didn't mention anything in the essay about my nationality, and the teacher only knew of it because she asked me where I was from because she noticed my accent. And it's something that really pissed me off because ultimately, the other shit about me didn't seem to matter just because my experience as X group. And this wasn't an isolated incident. Throughout my school years, I've had numerous different teachers in high school where one announced we're not even gonna go over American writers in our literature class because, and I quote, they're white old men and there's already enough literature from their point of view. And regardless of class, be it English, history, psychology, or whatever, the teachers would bring up identity politics, the elections, orange man bad, etc. And I really despised it. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with having strong political beliefs, but man, I came to school to learn, not to have some fucking middle-aged person's political beliefs shoved down my throat. And
yeah, exactly. They do. They'll just shove it down your throat till you choke on it.
and have to look at political banners in my state-run school, which I'm obligated to spend 6 hours of my day in. At work, this also happened, although not as extremely. Yeah, you'd have your sensitivity training, and if you worked at some more progressive office, you'd have some other type of culture war, political BS training as well, but it mainly manifested via the coworkers often bringing up these topics, which wasn't as bad as in other aspects of daily life, but still annoying. Speaking of work, since I was 15, I worked a variety of service jobs in the US up until I was 18 when I left.
He didn't say when he moved here. I wonder when he moved here, actually.
Throughout that time, one of the things that really got on my nerves was the work culture and etiquette. A lot of the times, the managers they had egos large enough to reach the moon. Many acted as if they were training a platoon of elite Navy SEALs and not managing a team of 16-year-old cashiers and shelf stockers at Walmart who were just there to make enough money to buy a used-up 2007 Toyota. The lower management would take their positions way too seriously and definitely look down on you because, hey, they earn just a couple more dollars than you. At the workplace, they and also the bosses would insist you constantly do something even if the place was deader than a 70-year-old uterus. They'd love to say things such as, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean, and
Yeah, I've heard that before. It's a very big saying here.
other similar slogans. For contrast, before my channel blew up, at the places I worked in Serbia, including McDonald's and an accounting office, the management was much more chill and acted as one of the crew rather than above it.
Yeah, and that's the thing I hear a lot from Europeans, that over there, everybody acts like equals. But no, over here, people want to, like, there's like a hierarchy. So like if one person's job is higher in the system than the next person's job, they'll treat you like he said, like in a military, like just talking down to you, like they're better than you and stuff. I can't stand it. It's just lack of respect.
If there was nothing to do, no one would scream at you to pretend to be busy to save some sort of face. Sure, the salaries were a complete joke, but your employers would treat you with much more dignity. The other thing about work culture that particularly sucks is the forced happiness. If you work in the service industry in America, you are forced to put on a smile, make small talk with the customers and pretend like you care about whatever they have to say. As at restaurants, the servers come and check up on you every 10 to 15 minutes to see if you need anything, and it's quite annoying because
it's also a tipping society though. They rely on tips. So some of it is, yes, you're required to put on the friendly face, even if it's fake. But for two, people feel like the more friendly they are, the better tip that they're going to end up getting from the customer. So you just kind of, it's a messed up system.
Check up on you every 10 to 15 minutes to see if you need anything.
And it's annoying.
It's quite annoying because I just want to enjoy my meal and have a nice conversation with whoever I'm with. If I need you, I'll just put up my hand and tell you if I need anything.
Exactly how I feel. Leave me alone. Let me eat my dinner in peace. If I need you, I'll get your attention. Trust me. If I don't get your attention, leave me alone, please.
Meanwhile, in retail, a lot of the time, if you work in some major department store, you're forced to try and sell their credit cards to customers, even though neither you nor them give two shits about it.
Yeah, and it's annoying because no matter how many times you go to the same store with the same cashier, they'll ask you the same question and you tell them like, nope, I didn't want it yesterday. I'm not going to want it today, but they're going to keep on asking you.
Business and services in the US are quite efficient, especially compared to Eastern Europe, but the work culture is a bit toxic.
It's a bit like slavery.
And quite stressful, which overall
Very
makes it
stressful.
quite a bad experience.
Oh, shit, cook. Goddamn, oh, shit, soda, cook. Hey, cook, we got the goddamn minutes of car here, soda.
I'm European. You knew this was coming. I know you've heard this criticism a
Car
million times
dependency.
by European liberals who have EU flags next to their name on Twitter and revel in the smell of their own farts. However, again, it's my video and I can bitch all I want.
That is right.
Anyways, the vast majority of cities in America are car-centric by design.
Yep.
If you want to go do anything, you gotta sit in the car, otherwise prepare to walk 30 to 40 minutes to the nearest grocery store.
Exactly.
This aspect in particular can be quite a pain in the ass, especially if you're not old enough to drive or can't afford a second car in your household. Yeah, there usually exists a bus system, but the bus usually comes every 20 minutes, and because the cities are so spread out, A lot of the time you have to switch buses, which can take quite a bit of time to get to your desired destination.
Yeah, and the buses only go to like the major cities. So like living in a rural place or like out in the country. Nope. You got to drive an hour, hour and a half to get to the closest city to get on the bus in the first place. I know. It's dumb.
Still beats walking, but again, not ideal. Also, It can also be quite of an inconvenience and even dangerous if you decide to go out to a bar with friends, because you have to drive back home. Getting drunk at a bar can end in several ways.
You're supposed to take a designated driver. Some bars actually have like shuttle systems to where you go there, you know, say you get dropped off or something, or you just leave your car there overnight, and then they'll have like a van or a bus that like will drive you home. Some club, not all of them, but a few of them do have that system in place.
Number one person is designated as the designated driver and can't join the fun. Number two, you have to call a taxi/Uber to take you home and spend a chunk of change on that.
Yeah.
Or number three, run the risk of drunk driving, which can endanger you and especially others.
I don't recommend number three. Don't drink and drive, guys. It is very unsafe.
Because of this, in the rural areas, drunk driving is a particular issue. What really sucks about this is that not all parts of the city are like this. In the older historic parts, the walkability still exists, as there are mixed commercial and housing zones.
Yeah, and that's only because those places existed before the car was dominant here.
However, a lot of this housing is single-family homes, which were great up until World War II, but after the baby boom, the new populace was forced out into the suburbs and by default condemned to the car. Also, cities like New York and San Francisco are extremely walkable and prove that such a system can exist in the country.
I hate the suburbs. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Ugly. All the houses look the same. Could you imagine coming home drunk and trying to explain where you live if you're too drunk to remember the address? So you're trying to tell the Uber driver. They all look the same. You'd be driving up and down every street just trying to find the place.
A lot of people also really advocate for the zoning laws to change and for more dense housing to be built to allow for this change.
Yeah.
However, the same people, when faced with having the zones in their neighborhood be built, suddenly become NIMBYs and completely backtrack. Overall, this was quite frustrating at times and definitely not something I miss. Last but not least, we have the cities themselves. Of course, America, again, being a large and diverse country in almost every aspect possible, also has a variety of interesting and amusing cities to live in and visit. However, the majority of the cities and towns outside of either the coasts are practically copy-pasted and extremely boring. The architecture is quite uninspiring, being either modern glass skyscrapers or basic single-family houses. If you're in a more chic neighborhood with cafes and artisan shops, practically every building looks like a Minecraft house except with a brick exterior instead of wood. In addition to this, unlike many European cities where you can walk around and do a lot of activities for free or for a very low cost, in the majority of the cities in the US, the majority of the entertainment has to be paid for.
Yeah, like everything has to be paid. It's about greed, guys. It's all about capitalistic greed.
Sure, you can walk around downtown and the park, but again, because the architecture is so uninspiring, this gets old pretty fast. And yeah, those would be some of the things that grind my gears about living in America. It certainly wasn't the lifestyle choice for me, but it is for many others. Let me know what you think. What aspects of living in the US do you not like? Which do you like? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you.
Yeah, not my choice. I'm just forced to live here because guess what? I was born here, guys. We're going to check out the comment section, see what this is all about here. Let me tell you this. If any person could earn in the Balkans even half of what you earn in the US and keep the same prices, the Balkans would be paradise on earth. Yeah, they get lower money over there, but everything costs cheaper too. So like it balances out, I'm sure. Somebody says, America is so eclectic that you can simultaneously love it and yet see it as a nightmarish wasteland depending on where, what, and why you deal with that day. Yeah, I agree. It's so vast and there's so many different things to encounter that, yeah, you love it one minute and you can't stand it the next. That is for sure. Just like the weather around. Somebody says, what I don't like about America is just how car-centric the life is over there. You can't walk to the supermarket, but hop into your car and drive to it. And if you have kids that want to play outside, good luck. Best you can do is send them to the backyard. Yeah, luckily I have a big giant front yard and a big giant backyard. It's great. This person says, I'm from Chicago. This is the appropriate amount of anger towards snow. Yeah. Yep. Northern Indiana, what, 2 hours from Chicago at most? I agree with that. The snow is insane. Somebody says, bro, I'm from Brazil. The work culture in Brazil is nearly identical to the US, if not identical to the US. That's one of the reasons I wanted to get the hell out of this place. It's hard to put a smile on your face when you don't want to, especially when you are bullied by your superiors to work more hours than you should and do something even if there's nothing to do. Yeah, that actually does sound a lot like America. So sorry to you Brazilians out there. You're in the same boat as us, evidently. Somebody says, one thing that pisses me off about America, and pretty similar in Canada, is that teen spaces have been killed, and boomers and Gen X say that teens nowadays are addicted to their phones. No, we just want something to do. Yeah, that's kind of true. There used to be a ton of stuff to do when I was a kid. Not so much anymore. They got rid of everything. There's no more arcades, really. There's no more like fun places to go. Hardly at all. Sucks. Kind of sad. But anyways, that was that. You guys have a super fun, awesome day. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.